All right, everybody, welcome back to the podcast, The Funky Intellect. I have my good friend here, Kia. My. I have known this person for a very, very
Easy.
okay, easy on the bell. All right. Well, a long time. Okay. Um, I almost want to be real country and say since you was knee high to a grasshopper, but I ain't known you that long. You know I'm bad with time. Uh, anyway, I have Kia here, and we're going to talk about something that she is super qualified for. If I need a prayer through, it'll probably be my mama and then Kia next. Um, we're talking about God. We're talking about gays, being gay, and the confusion of people thinking you have to choose both or you just abandon your beliefs if you were brought up a specific way, etc. So, welcome to the Funky Intellect.
Yeah, thank you. Super excited to be here. Great opportunity. Amazing topic, and I just enjoy conversation with you. Period. And I think that this is a conversation that we are, and I say we collectively across the diaspora, across the culture, across the board, are finally starting to have because y'all tripping, and
Yeah,
that's what it is.
yeah. I a lot of times I sit back and I look at what people think is supposed to happen with a lot of stuff, but
Mm-hmm.
specifically with this, the expectation of how people are supposed to act, how people are supposed to look, the beliefs that they are holding on to, letting go. It just don't make sense. A lot of times I'm looking at a lot of stuff. Make it make sense. Somebody say
Make
something.
it make
Explain it.
sense.
Because why are we doing this?
Yeah.
So I appreciate you for being here. And I also appreciate you for mentioning just across the diaspora, as you mentioned. My first note was black people. It literally said black people. Black people. Okay. I don't know. I don't know nothing else, right? But I know that being Southern, being
Because Texas is the South.
because Texas is the South,
Let it be known for
it's
those
like
that
it's
say Texas
we
in the
our own
South.
thing, but also don't get it twisted. Also the South,
Mm-hmm.
Southern, Baptist, Black, gay, and spiritual.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's so much wrapped up in that. And I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to talk about first what comes with being gay and black in church, which that probably is a whole nother podcast. But to get started, like my experience of listening to pastors or teachers or preachers and all that other stuff say, okay, you can't be gay. Everybody going to hell. It is what it is. Do not pass go collect $100.
Mm-hmm.
That has been my experience. Well, it was my experience up until maybe, I don't know, college when I found a different church. So,
Mm-hmm.
right. So I'm going to ask you because I feel like you may have had a similar experience, but you have been to various types of churches.
Mm-hmm.
And so tell me your experience with that.
So my experience is different because I did not grow up in the church, unlike you. So I didn't accept Jesus as my personal Lord and Savior until I was like 19. I didn't grow up in the church. Sundays were for big breakfast. It wasn't for service. It wasn't for church.
Mm-hmm.
And like I seen it and I was aware of it, but I wasn't a church kid, a church girl. Like when I did, I was of age and it was a conscious decision. And it was that conversation was just kind of understood. I didn't necessarily hear from the various churches that I went to. I didn't necessarily hear fire and brimstone, but you could smell smoke. You know, it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't coming from the pulpit.
Yeah.
I do recall one time going to a church visiting, and it was an old school church, gravel parking lot,
Parking lot.
Cadillacs
It was hot.
everywhere.
I bet it was hot for
You
no
know it
reason.
was. You
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was
that
hot.
fan with Martin Luther King on it. You know it was. And I was visiting because I wanted to go to church. I had to be in college, probably a freshman, and I went with my friend at the time, who is gay, and I remember the preacher started preaching and whatever he was talking about, old school, whatever he was talking about, and
Mm-hmm.
somehow or another he started alluding to gay men, and he was like, "What it look like if me and Deacon such and such hold hands?" And I felt horrible.
Man.
I felt horrible. I felt horrible for myself. I felt horrible for my friend because he was talking about gay men in particular.
Mm-hmm.
And just went on this whole rant. And when I tell you, the whole church is cracking up, laughing at the thought, the concept of, these men acting like women.
That's tough.
And I remember on that day making a decision to walk out. And I will walk out. Matter of fact, I was at a church on Sunday that I was visiting. I hadn't been to church. I haven't been to church, a traditional church, in months and Sundays, as they say.
Mm-hmm.
And I went and I saw one thing on the website, but I know who got up and was on the screen. It was actually a place where it was a part of a larger group, and so they
Uh-huh.
watched church on a screen. Like the
Uh-huh.
pastor or whoever, the preacher wasn't even there. This screen came down.
Yeah.
And then when I saw old boy on the screen, I
You
ain't seen
said
him on the website because I may not
you
have
said now
gone had I
I
seen.
know he wasn't on the brochure.
Because I looked. And so when he started preaching, I'm looking and just the swagger, and I'm, in my head, I already packed up. I'm in the parking lot. But
You
I gave it
pulling
an
out. You trying to
opportunity, and
decide where to go eat. Where's brunch?
it wasn't what I thought, and so I'm glad I didn't. But I say that to say we have to protect our space. We have to protect our space mentally, emotionally, and leave. Like, I'm not entertaining that foolishness. Like, if that's what you believe, that's cool, and I respect you, but I also respect me. And so I say that so going back to your original question, that hasn't been my experience. I've been very fortunate that I haven't seen or heard that. And on the rare occasions that I have, I was able to exit.
Okay, I'm with that. So I want people to realize the different perspectives. Like, you weren't raised in the church, you got in, on your own accord.
Yeah.
Me, raised in the church, preacher's kid, and I just been out here seeing stuff, looking at stuff like, I don't like it. I'ma go do something else. But the theme of this is, we know how gay people are perceived, and every scripture folks want to use, even if they don't use the scripture, to your point, the preacher, if he just going off on a tangent talking about what I look like, black people love to say what they look like.
That's what it was. That's what it
so
is.
so within that, finding spirituality and finding like what you believe, etc. I think a lot of times people think it's abandoned altogether. And from my experience, I have never met a person that has abandoned their beliefs altogether just because they love the same sex or would like to date the same sex, etc. I have met a lot of people who about to fight it tooth and nail and be, like unhappy and stuff like that. But the bigger picture is, I haven't met anybody that abandons it. So I wonder why the perception is that all of a sudden, if I want to hold a woman's hand, I done forgot, like where I done came from. I'm obviously everything under the sun. I mean, they call gay folk pedophiles, all type of things. And so I wonder, how do people begin to find their spirituality and come back from ridicule and not
Mm-hmm.
being taken serious and questioning stuff, etc. And so, if we're not abandoning it, how do we
Mm.
find it? How do we sort through what's good, what's bad for us? To your point, keeping that space safe, because I think this, and I want your opinion, but I'm gonna say this last thing. I think that finding yourself spiritually is already a vulnerable place to be.
Yeah, that's
So you
good.
dump society on top of that, and then religion, which is
Mm-hmm.
different from spirituality,
Yes, it is.
and then
We so
it's
churchy. Preach.
amen. Okay, say that, say that. So then it's like, dang, you
Mm-hmm.
already in a wild place. What do you do? How do you find it? And then we'll talk about how maybe to protect it. Since there's this confusion of I'm gay now, so I just don't believe none of that. I'm going against the full blown grain, period. Like they make it seem like at some point, if you're gay, you just slamming the door in your granny's face, like, or just being like,
That's it.
beating
That's
up
all. Yeah.
cats, or just it's just
Yeah.
like, why would you think
You
that?
joining the occult. Mm-hmm. You got lamb's blood and you doing all kind of
Exactly.
sacrifices. Yeah,
You went to find all of the bad things and was like, that
yeah,
I've been looking for you, and
yeah.
it's just crazy to me what people make up. So let's talk about maybe how you find your way spiritually, and how have you found your way spiritually?
I think it is very much a personal journey.
Yeah,
Emphasis on the word journey.
yeah,
I
yeah.
think, and to even what you were saying, like I've met people. Matter of fact, I knew someone who she was a preacher's kid, and
We out here. Hoo-doo.
she she knew she had these feelings. Like she knew what she was feeling and what she was seeing and what she was thinking. But the pressure of her role and her circle, she went on, got married, had kids, and was miserable,
Mm.
absolutely miserable. And she was sharing with me how when she did decide to be true to herself, there that she and I remember I felt so sad that she believed, she came to terms with just reconciling, I'm going to hell.
Mm.
That's what
That's deep.
it was. It was what she was eyes wide open choosing, based on her upbringing, based on everything. She was like, I know what they say and I know what I've been taught, but I also know, I know what I'm feeling. And
Mm.
so she just, and
She
I remember
just
I felt so sad when she was sharing that with me. She's since in a different place, hence the word journey. But I remember when she was sharing that with me, because she just reconciled that she was going to hell. Like this was her fate. But I thought that spoke volumes simultaneously that she was willing to reconcile that, because I
that's
can't
deep.
not be who I am.
That's deep. When you just like, you know what? If because
Yeah,
because it's so real. You just like, I can't do
yeah,
nothing with that. So it's real. It's a thing. You touch fire, you gonna get burned.
yeah.
It's real like that. And so, all right,
I'm touching
cool.
this fire.
I'm just going to hell now, and I'll deal with hell when I get there.
Like real talk, that's exactly. She's not the only one that I've met who thought like that. So she was one, and then I was involved with someone that
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
was not raised in the church, but didn't think that she could have a relationship with God because of how she was. So when we got together, it was me saying, I don't know about you, but over here,
He's
as for
about
me and my house,
we good. I mean, we down like 4 flags. If it's up, then it's stuck. Ain't that
You
what Cardi
understand?
said?
You understand?
Yeah.
So it's crazy because through me, she recognized that it wasn't either or, but that we really do serve a God of and. She didn't even open that door. She didn't even explore it because she just assumed it's not for me. I don't qualify. And so I keep going to that word journey because there's so many influences. Like it depends on your circle. It depends on what that self-talk is like.
Mm-hmm.
Because you could be in a space today that's telling you this and this, but if, oh boy up here, it's telling you something contrary, and that's what's inbred in you, that's what's ingrained in you, that's what you've been hearing since childhood, that's what you're seeing, saying, smelling, like that's all. It's going to take a paradigm shift. It's going to take like some real work for you to
Yeah.
start believing else. You were talking about the scriptures that they used to justify. Scripture was used to justify enslavement.
Yeah. A lot of stuff. A lot.
And
A lot.
recognizing
At
that,
this point, nobody should be having crawfish boils, snow crabs, motherfucking shrimp. None of that. That's
all
like,
of girl, don't let us be on our cycle. You supposed to like slay a ox or something like okay. But then
yeah,
even going back to the infallibility, and it's so interesting because being this age and getting older and the access we have to information, recognizing y'all niggas wrong. This interpretation was wrong,
yeah.
but that was the authority. And so they said this is what it is. And so we assume that's what it is. And
Mm-hmm.
so now on this side, recognizing, wait a minute, that don't mean that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
My sister and I talk about all the time. Just today we were talking about how, case in point, we've been calling these people Indians, Native Americans. Christopher Columbus got lost.
He,
And because he got lost and committed to the loss and the lie, we hundreds of years later
yeah.
still calling these people, because we were talking about sitting crisscross applesauce and just not even thinking. I was saying, yeah, the kids were sitting Indian style. Wait, that's not right. Like, but I had to unlearn that.
You do. It's a process. It's a journey. It's a
It's a
journey.
journey. It's a
It's a
journey. It's a
journey.
journey. I
So
don't know
you
if I
said,
answered, but
no, that's fine. You said something interesting too, though. It's like, who's the authority now? To me, you said
Yes.
they were the authority before. So then it makes me think, who is the authority now?
Mm.
And if I ask that to myself,
Mm.
it's me.
Yes.
I am the authority. I make the rules.
That's what's up.
We high five.
High five. Man, that's good, girl.
um,
Yes.
I make the rules. I decide what's going to be sacrificed, what we
Yeah.
eat, and what all of the things.
Yeah. The
And
buck stops.
so one thing for me I've realized is that one of my saving graces was moving out of the city I was raised in. Because the people that I met, first of all, I was so naive. I came to Houston and was like, Black people are Catholic? Blew my mind. Okay. I don't know why. I just don't think I was thinking. I just don't think I was thinking at all. But of course, we got the Louisiana situation, right? So, okay. So the people that I met when I moved here opened my eyes to ideas of, one, who's in charge, what's really right.
Yeah.
You mean to tell me, like my homeboy, who he's a good fella, doesn't do anything, he happens to be Hindu, you know what I'm saying? And it's all
Yep.
good, but like he not heaven bound or he's hell bound. All it just made me start questioning a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
trying to, take your little steps on your journey. I think that one, awareness is the first part of the journey, but then really looking at other religions, spiritual practices, all that other stuff to figure out what's helpful to you, what makes sense to you, like, and really be tapped in. I was talking to a
Mm-hmm.
friend about trusting yourself the other day, and her main takeaway was basically just be tapped in with yourself to know what feels good, what don't feel good, just on a spiritual level. Does it give you anxiety, all that other stuff? And so I feel like on this journey of confusion, and it's crazy because when I wrote the title of this, I was thinking confusion on the outside. Folks that ain't gay, not in the community, nothing like that. When you mentioned the person that you dated and the young lady who just decided if it, she going to hell, that confusion never crossed my mind
Mm-hmm.
because I guess because I was over my confusion. I am over my confusion. And so you just said that and I was like, wait a minute. There is confusion on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
My intention was to discuss a one-sided situation, but now that we have both in the journey, it's like, okay, how do you take the journey? What do you need to look at? The awareness of it, who you come in contact with, and how they operate, and what really works for you, and trying to figure out what you believe. Tell
That's
me
good.
about anything you've adopted from other cultures, other religions. And it could be nothing, it could be something, but I know there are a lot of things that I feel like are right in other religions.
Mm-hmm.
And I won't say that they're wrong just because it's
Mm-hmm.
another religion.
Mm-hmm.
I like,
I don't disagree. I don't like we have no copyright on this thing. Like I don't disagree. And I think it goes back to the point you were making about authority. Like, so as you know, I'm 5'1" in real life, but I'm 7 feet in my head.
for sure.
So
For sure.
I say all that to say I'm the type of person, if I'm asking a question, I want to know, well, where you learn? Where you got the answer?
Yeah.
How you know? And
Yeah.
so in this instance, with none of us being the authority, like none of us were there. And that's what's so crazy about, these people picketing and saying, God hates gays and, all this damnation. You have no heaven nor hell. You ain't been there. Like
You ain't
it's
saying
like you a bouncer, like, and that you're condemning people to. So going back to that authority and what your statement as far as and heavy on the spiritual. And one thing that I've been sitting in and really meditating on lately, intuition, and thinking about intuition for the last couple of weeks. That unsaid, unspoken, you just feel it, you just know it. A
mm-hmm.
lot of times we say something told me, my
Yeah.
mind told me. That intuition is so important in this journey, where we know when we come across something and we like, I don't need to be here.
That don't feel
Or
right. It seems
yeah,
it don't just gel with you the best it could gel.
these not my people. It
Mm-hmm.
just, I can't, I'm not saying, I just know. I just know. And
Mm-hmm.
so going to adopting and what you were talking about, looking at others, one of the things that kept standing out to me as you were talking, was the word exposure. Like, I think that's critical. I think that's crucial. Whereas I think in some traditional conservative religious circles,
Mm-hmm.
this, nothing else. I just finished watching this documentary on what is it, the Duggars, uh
What is that on?
Prime.
Mm.
I think it was on Prime. Could have been Hulu. Girl, TV, uh, iPad.
uh-huh.
Um, you remember the family. They had like 17 kids, 18 kids. Like, they had a
Oh
whole
yeah.
show. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, yeah.
Remember what happened with the son?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's called, I think, Shiny Happy People, something like that, the documentary. And so they
Mm-hmm.
were a fundamentalist family, Christian.
Mm-hmm.
And in this documentary, it does a deeper dive into what they believed. And one of the things that they believed, and it was so interesting, just the what's the word? Hypocrisy
Mm.
of this family that we know because they had a whole TV show
Yeah.
on TLC
Yeah. Documented everything. Yeah.
forbid watching television, listening to the radio, because they didn't want those influences.
Uh-huh.
They didn't want
Sure you
that.
did.
What was the word I use? Exposure. Like if you editing,
Mm-hmm.
this is where you put the word expose.
Yeah.
Put it in my hand. Exposure.
Exposure.
They didn't want that exposure. And so when we think about even going back to enslavement, they didn't want us to learn how to read. Why was that
Mm-hmm.
illegal? Because we
Mm-hmm.
didn't want us to be exposed. And
Yeah.
so one thing that I've adopted in just my spiritual journey in my life, I'll try almost anything once.
I
I'm not I'm
I
not
I
trying.
say 3 times, well, specifically for food. 3 times. I'm always
Mm-hmm.
like, just try it. Just try it. Have you tried it? You ain't never tried it?
That's it. Give it a shot. Give
Just
it a
try
shot.
it.
Now, some things I ain't fooling with. What we say earlier, what I look like messing with, like some
I
things.
mean, I mean, if it's like a ghost pepper or something like that, I don't need to try that.
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
seen it. I get it. I get it. But no, I get it. Exposure. I feel like that's the only way I really survived.
Yeah. You said it when you moved. Like when I moved, things opened up.
Yeah.
Like when you moved, and I saw a stat years ago, but it was talking about the average person not moving without a outside of a 25-mile radius of where they were raised.
That's dangerous. That's dangerous. And I feel like the only way to combat that is if you travel all the time. Like your
Yeah,
home base may
yeah,
be, wherever you were raised. And if you travel all the time, you can really meet people,
yeah,
cetera, and figure out that things really do exist. And this might be wrong.
yeah. There's
Yeah.
more.
Yeah.
Or maybe your money is funny, your change is strange. Have a conversation with someone that doesn't look like you.
Mm-hmm.
Engage with others. And I think that's one of the things that that impedes progress
Mm.
when we don't engage with others, when we don't collaborate.
Let me say this: engage with others and not engage trying to change and
Ain't
get
nobody got
them
time for that. Ain't
and
nobody.
get them on your side. Because I feel like a lot of times people will be like, I talk to people all the time. And it's just like, yeah, but you got a whole agenda or something. You trying to get them
That
on
part.
board.
That part.
So it's just like, to your point, talk
That
to
part.
them, figure it out, have an exchange, but don't make it to where you are the authority in this conversation and
That
you
part.
already think they just wrong. It's two left shoes.
That part.
Like,
And nothing will be accomplished. Like the only things realistically that we are authorities on are ourselves. Like
and most people barely can figure that out.
barely,
Barely.
barely, yeah.
Barely.
So I absolutely agree. We had this whole thing at work, a town hall for Pride, and one of they were asking for, well, what does allyship look like, and what are some tips and best practices
Mm-hmm.
for being supportive? And one of the things that someone said was they were talking about having conversations, and I want to get it right. How did he say it? Ultimately, he was saying exactly opposite of what you were saying, meaning be open to those conversations and having those inner. That may be where you are. That's not where I am.
Mm.
Where trying to convince or persuade.
Yeah. Listen, I got a friend. I always tell her she the ally that nobody ever asked for. She stayed going to bat for the gay folk. I mean, stay going. And I'm like, good for you. And thank you one time, and that's it. Because I will not do it. I'm not going to
Meanwhile,
explain.
yep.
Like, I'm not going to explain if you come up, trying to convince me otherwise. I don't have it. As long
It's
as you,
pointless with some people. It's
well, let me tell you, to your point, pointless. I feel like
Mhm.
well, let me talk about that pointless. Some people have decided that that's their whole personality. Kind of like 8.5 by 11s deciding that their whole personality is drinking wine. Yeah, okay, live, laugh, love, drink
It's
wine.
wine
Like,
o'clock.
that's
Yeah.
your whole personality. Some people have decided that's them. And if you take that away from them, they're gone.
Yeah.
Those are the people that you don't have a conversation with, because at some point you're uprooting who they are as a person, and it's just never going to work. That's something they got to work on their own, if they
It's a
want to.
journey. Like the journeys for both sides. Because they may
Yeah.
come around. You never know.
Yeah, that's why I said if they want to.
Yeah.
But some
Yeah.
conversations are not necessarily meant to be had when they're like that. But if you coming to
Yeah.
me asking something regular, now I will be honest with you. If you ask me something blatantly stupid, you
Mm-hmm.
might get a wild answer. You know what I'm saying? Um, I'm still on my journey.
As
But
we
it's,
all are.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
as you open up, you'll see that people think totally different. They own
Yeah.
totally, and it's not
If you're
necessarily.
wise and mature enough, like that's the piece. Like I think that's what we're encountering now, especially in politics, where the sky is blue, the sky is blue, the sky is blue. Well, look over here.
Yeah, it's talking about it actually orange. You ain't
You
seen the
understand? Because
sunset.
at sunset, explain that to me.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And that's the only perspective that they will allow or permit.
Mhm,
And folk like that, I zip zilch nada. No, like I have
mhm,
absolutely no time. No, like, So it really is a journey, because there are those that are committed to not hearing and not being receptive, and not and just not, like,
mhm.
that's like, and okay, bet
Yeah,
I
just
won't
stay over
go.
there. I'm
Yeah,
gonna stay over here.
yeah, and that's
Yeah,
it.
yeah, I get that. I I feel like I could talk about this idea of religion and black people in space and black church and journeys and
And
stuff
there's a
like ever.
mass exodus. Like
Yeah.
there's a mass exodus, and it's not, and it's generational. Like it's hidden Gen Z, millennials, boomers, a mass exodus.
But let me say this. I feel like everybody understands the mass exodus, those people that are exiting.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got this other side that's like, well, well what? And I'm
Yeah,
just like,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
But it reminds me of the episode of the Boondocks. Oh, this is a
Pimp
long
named
time ago.
Slickback. Yeah. Uh-huh.
When they were protesting and they were going downtown or something like that, and Granddad left to go get his raincoat.
Uh-huh.
And by the time he got back to the protest, they was done with the protest, but they got hosed by the dogs. I mean, hosed and attacked by dogs and stuff. This is all in the Boondocks and ridiculous. And Granddad came back and was like, "Oh man, did I miss it? They did the thing with the dogs and the hoses, and like everybody was mad at Granddad."
Uh-huh. Where you been? Yeah.
I, I feel
Mm-hmm.
like we a Granddad, like y'all ain't see the whole thing that was happening, because okay, well, we gonna leave, and we gonna leave y'all to it. And I don't know if, as much as I like black church, I don't know if there's a way to get people back in it. And specifically, I said black church. I didn't say Christianity. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
say
Black church.
nothing.
Absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
love
Absolutely.
I love churchy black things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And to a point we need it because we need like congregation and stuff like that. But I don't know if it's any getting back, but I do understand leaving and keeping a safe space for yourself and
I
not
think
being subjected to certain things.
that part, like that part, the misogyny, the patriarchy, like
Yeah.
that. Girl, I could go. I
Yeah.
know it's a little 30-minute episode, honey, but my goodness, not as is,
Yeah.
not as is. I do absolutely yearn for an intentional community. I think as beings, we're created to be in community. And so you were talking earlier about how do people get back on their journey, and I think there's a God-sized hole, like there's a like
Mm.
it we look for him, he'll find us. We don't look for
Yeah.
him, he'll find us.
Yeah.
um and I think the Black church as is has absolutely, and some are, I haven't.
I mean, I ain't gonna name no names, but I'm all right with my church. Like
Yeah,
we
yours is a
good.
good one. Yours is a good one. Yours
Yeah,
is
we
yours is a
good.
good one. Now let me ask you this, because so for a season I was at a affirming church,
Mm.
that a Black affirming church
Mm. Okay.
that had two male pastors, husbands, and be your full self.
That's
And so
wow.
it was a new experience,
Wow.
honey.
Okay.
My challenge with that was, as I mentioned, I didn't grow up in the church,
Mm-hmm.
and it was very churchy in the
Mm.
sense it was just gay church. Like the 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 ritual, and it's like, wait, why are we doing this? And then
Uh
not to mention service was knocking on 4 hours. That's a shift.
what? The audacity of them to be so different and then try to keep you in church all day long.
So
Okay, I
there
get what you mean.
it was, I mean, because it was a very traditional church, just gay. Like that was it. And
Hmm.
so I appreciate the freedom, the acknowledgement
Yeah.
simultaneously. So you are free here, but you in bondage here.
Yeah. Ooh, that's deep.
So I think overall the Black church, because we do need to be in community. Like there's
We
some we were
do.
talking about, earlier, if when like there are
Yeah.
certain things that, and even thinking about the role of the Black church throughout history, and
Yeah.
how it's been a pivotal piece of us overcoming,
We need it.
being able to sustain. The Black church has to absolutely do some serious, and I don't even want to say an assessment. Like y'all needed to have done that.
Yeah. You behind. You behind the you know, we Black church for me, one, I do believe on your journey, find a safe space. People, they say, well, one or two will gather. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
People, church, whatever. But I understand when you say y'all should have been done this. I sit and listen to like churchy things happening and not teaching like financial success and providing like health benefits and like different things like that. I'm like, we are so behind the curve. Like that confuses me. Talk about the gays got it confused. That confuses me.
That mind boggling. So, having not grown up in the church,
Mm,
but going into ministry
mm,
and seeing that side of it, like for real, like these are basic, basic principles.
hmm But you know what it boils down to again? The exposure. And I think that Black
My mama
church.
did it like that. My mama's mama did it like that. My daddy did it like this. My daddy's
Uh
daddy
huh.
did it like this.
Uh huh.
Mind you, it was a different time,
Uh,
um, a
okay.
different climate, like,
Amen.
and we still doing that.
I think that we haven't taken advantage of all that we can in church. And I guess, it boils down to your individual journey, taking that exposure, being tapped in, figuring that out. And also, if we wanted to dump it on the church, also the church needs to be
Yeah.
exposing themselves, taking advantage, and they need to be on their own journey. And I think they're severely behind in the race, and that's why you see a lot of people leaving, because no one wants to be in the firing squad.
If they're going to be who they say they are, like if you're really going to be in the community and be in people's lives who you say you are,
Mm-hmm.
you have to abandon this. You have to abandon what we did, because true, it worked,
The
but backs were broken. Like
mm-hmm.
backs were broken. Like it wasn't right. We got through. Like as a people, we overcome. But no more. You can't do that. You can't put diesel in this.
Yeah, it's a new playbook.
Yeah, yeah,
It's a new
yeah,
playbook.
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah, yeah.
maybe that's what it boils down to. So maybe the confusion can kind of be dampered, and it's just understanding that sometimes there will be a new playbook.
Yes,
There are
yes,
multiple chapters to your story.
yes,
It is a journey,
yes,
and just really tap in
yes.
with
It's a matter of
yourself,
being
the people.
responsive, right? Like it's not being rote and just doing as is, but being
Yeah.
truly responsive, responding to the times, because there is still a need for the church, period.
Yes. and
Like
and
we
I think
still need a
people would
place.
think we
Yeah.
don't see that. You can Two things can be true at once. You can leave and
Yep.
be like, I wish y'all was what we
Yeah.
needed,
Yeah.
but
This ain't it. Yeah.
we'll watch from afar, and then maybe we'll come back once we've seen what we need to see. But it's a need, and it sucks. Let me say this: it sucks from a preacher's kid perspective or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And a person that likes churchy things, I
Mm-hmm.
love
Mm-hmm.
black stuff.
It's a whole culture.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
I
to
mean,
give it up.
oh, what happened?
It's okay. You said it's a whole culture, and to
It's
give it up is
exactly.
unfortunate.
Or even just the access. Like I keep going back to community, because that's something that I am actively in search of right now. Community. I just know, going back to intuition, I know this ain't it. And I would be unfair to myself to subjugate myself to this.
Yeah.
And I mean, it works for y'all, and that's good. But
Yeah.
as for me and my house,
Yeah. It just
and I absolutely think it's important that I don't know.
I get it. It's a lot. I think talking about God and religion, spirituality, and then I guess they call it the third place, somewhere you can go outside of like work and home. And I feel like church is one of those third places or whatever. It can all be very confusing and very layered. And at the end of the day, prioritizing yourself is going to be the thing. Because I feel like if you focus on self, you're tapped in, to your point, God will find you even if you don't search for him. Even if you're just looking inside yourself, God is within, right? You. So
That
it's
part.
just like you're popular. Um,
That part. Yeah.
I
Oh, is
tell
it going off? I'm so sorry.
no. You're good. You're good. We'll wrap it up anyway because you're my friend. It don't matter. But yeah, I one
It's a big topic, and it's something that, and I appreciate the conversation, and I appreciate you even bringing it to light, because it's like, we really not talking about this, like the minister of music, y'all. Really,
yo like
like
yeah
we really not going to. And it was so crazy, again, not being raised in the church, and then to see and learn how badly that homosexuality, those with alternative lifestyles are talked about, but you'll take these gifts. You
Yeah.
gonna use them,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
you can't sit at my table.
Yeah. It's
It's
crazy.
pimping.
I'll well, okay, you're right. And I'll say this, like, I've thought, and I usually think multiple times. When I see foolish stuff happen, I'll think this a lot. I'll be like, folk on the outside looking in gotta think Christians are just crazy.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Dead, loony,
Oh yeah.
like,
What? Think about this commercial. Who gonna sign up for that? What? Like what? What is
correct,
appealing about it? What is
correct.
appealing?
You know, I often,
Condemnation,
yo,
judgment, and these
it's
the church folk.
wild. And these are the people that you supposed to be. I often categorize people and I'd be like, those Christians, because I'm like, don't
Yeah.
associate
Yeah.
me. I don't, that's not, like, I
Practicing
don't do
Christian.
none of that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's wild. Okay, we could go on and on, but I have to wrap it up some way, somehow. I appreciate you a lot for
Yes.
even
This
coming in.
ditto. Absolutely. What happened? Host will be here soon. Did it kick you out?
Just when I said I wasn't gonna do a lot of editing.
What happened?
I don't know. I don't know. But I was just saying, I guess the universe was like, y'all been talking long enough. I don't know. But
Mm.
I was saying I appreciate you. We could talk on, and I think I'm gonna get a big group of people together just to talk about churchy stuff. I just want to be outlandish and over the top, because that's the world I live in. So
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate you. Tell people how they can find you, or all that good stuff.
Oh, are we still podcasting?
Yeah.
Girl, I done got real comfortable. I thought we were just talking. The internet. Girl, I don't know.
It's a good place to
What's
start.
what's my stuff? Kia keeps up, and nevertheless movement.
Yes, Kia keeps up in the Nevertheless movement.
Probably. We know the Kia keeps up definitely. So, it's been
I'll
bitty.
I'll double check.